Hello, and welcome to episode 193 of the Awesome Comics Podcast, the place where the small press makes one hell of a big noise. I'm Vince Hunt, creator of the Red Mask from Mars, and this week I'm joined by the creator of the superhero webcomic Vanguard, Dan Butcher.
Hello.
The man who believes that no matter what it is, every biscuit really does go with cheese. It's Tony Esmond.
But not every biscuit is suitable for the game.
Ice party rings. That's not good.
No, you don't want them, do you?
Hole in the middle.
No.
I can't believe this. I'm just going to let listeners think about that for a split second. Just think about the degenerates that I share a show with. And I'm not going to get them to elaborate.
I'm seeing you on Sunday. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Yes, and more about that very, very soon.
Yeah.
Joining us this week is the creator of the awesome Glorious Wrestling Alliance. It is the one and only Mr. Josh Hicks.
Hello.
Right, Josh.
Hey, Josh. You're right, man.
Very good. I was trying to keep the mystery of radio alive, and I didn't want to comment during the biscuits. I did have some good things to add. We've missed it now. It's gone.
It's like front row on here. It's like the arts programs you hear on Radio 4. I bet they don't cover biscuits enough.
No.
Which is also a callback to the joke you just said.
Thank you.
Yes, Josh is joining us this week, and he's quite a busy fellow at the moment. What with a Kickstarter going on for his brilliant comic, and a little comic event, Cardiff Comics Carnival. Yep. We're going to be talking about CCC, the Triple C.
Yeah.
Is that a similar acronym to the Central Criminal Court? Allow me to point that out to you.
Yes, it's a hashtag nightmare.
Both deal with degenerates.
I mean, a hashtag nightmare's an amazing title for something. That sounds like a band name, doesn't it?
Oh, I wouldn't go and see them though, would you? Be full of millennials.
Is that what you just think about music in general these days, Tony?
Yeah, unless it was made before 1973, I'm not interested.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Need this generation's G.G. Allen. That'd be good. G.G. Allen for the hashtag generation.
Dear God. No matter what your generation, though, we're sure that you love comics, and that's why
you're so smooth. That you just pulled that right out of your arse. I'm impressed with that.
Dear
Much
God.
like G.G. Allen did on stage.
Very good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We derailed that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you don't,
you know what you can't derail.
Oh no, he's on one today. He's off. I can't. Look, this is the sponsorship ad. You freed the beast. You've done it. You freed him. There's no putting him back in his cage.
Freed the beast.
He's out.
It's the Comic House app, isn't it, Vince?
Yeah,
is it, Dan? I've given up.
I'm sorry, Pete. I'm sorry. I'm emailing him now. Another apology.
Yep. Sorry, Pete. They've finally broken me. I'm a broken man. But I tell you what. At least I have your app and your wonderful comics company. Yes, Comic House, who are our sponsor, and they are the indie comic marketplace that we love, and with a difference. And they just actually love comics, which is why I'm guessing they have anything to do with us. Yeah, they've got a huge selection of titles on their database, and if you've got a comic that you're self-publishing or you've already got out, or maybe you've got a comic that's been gathering dust in boxes, rather than forget about it, put it on their database. You know, you can list your book on there for free. It's another avenue for selling your comics, and they'll only take a tiny, almost, I don't know,
insignificant
amount of commission, if anything. So, which is awesome in this world where every penny counts, especially as like the price of everything just seems to go up these days, especially comics themselves. But that's another thing entirely. But Comic House also have an amazing app, which we talk about every week. The database is just getting bigger and bigger every week. Dan, what have they got on there at the moment?
We've got Here and There, Snuffy and Zoe Toy Box Adventure, Epilogue, Red Sonja, She-Devil with a Sword from Dynamite Entertainment, and
the Geordie Red Sonja is on there.
Issue 3 of the Awesome Comic.
Yes.
It's fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Our comic is on there, and we love it, and it's surrounded by some absolutely amazing indie titles there. A lot of which are on my wish list to read at the moment.
Brilliant.
You know, so it's great stuff. If you want to find out more about the app and the brilliant Comic House, then go to comichouse.com. You can get a 14-day free trial on the app, and find out more. And it's only about £3 a month, the price of a comic these days. So there you go. Go on, Dan.
Aaron Rackley pointed out that in the comments section of a comic, you can link to an external review that you've done or you've seen. So, Tony, for instance, if you've read, you could have an external link going from the app to Never Iron Anything on a title you've reviewed there, so people could get the first couple of lines and then go to your site and see the whole review.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. Nice bit of functionality. I'm not sure if that's always been there or that's a new feature.
Yeah, I'll have a go at that.
Either way, you'll be diving into a bottomless pit of comic book talk if there's anything to do with Tony Esmond.
Thank you.
You banged up a couple more reviews today, didn't you?
Yeah, but 2 up today, actually. Yeah, nice. Probably talk about one of them later. Yeah.
Oh, excellent.
What's your daily average? What's your weekly average?
Reviewing or
reviewing.
I reckon 1 or 2 a week is what I try and do on different.
Very good.
On different sort of. There's a couple of different places I write stuff, but 1 or 2 a week generally. It's.
Think about your stuff though. Like you're never just talking about here's what happened in.
I hate all
Green Arrow or something like this. You're always picking out, quite unusual titles. I think that.
Yeah, I like the stranger stuff. Yeah.
I think you got a really good take on them as well, Tony. I've said this before.
It's very kind of you. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. You always have. You often spot stuff that I don't see. Yeah. And when you pick it up, it's like, oh god, that's really obvious.
Thank you.
I think the nicest thing I can say about your reviews, Tony, is sometimes I read them and I can't believe you wrote them.
I'm like 2 people.
You are.
Fucking hell! If ever there was a comic written for me though, it was the one that I reviewed today, and we'll talk about it later.
Oh, lovely!
Oh my god!
Stick around for that, folks.
Yeah. But before we do that, Josh is here. He's behaving himself. I say he's putting up with us. That's essentially what the guests do.
Josh has been on before. We did an interview. Yeah. We did like a roving interview with you before, didn't we, Josh? I think.
Yeah, we sat down at the comics table.
Was that Sice?
That was at Sice last year.
That's right. Yeah. And I think I've seen you at LCAF as well, haven't I? I think we've chatted there before as well, haven't we?
We've chatted in the patio or whatever the front bit of LCAF is. We've chatted at Sice. We've chatted elsewhere. Yeah,
probably best friends.
He was just warming you up for this. And now you're here and thinking...
The long con.
the long con. Which can also be known as MCM.
I'm doing that. I'm booked in, my friend.
So smooth.
I'm doing 3 days with No Brow on the Hilda table at MCM coming up soon. Yeah, that is going to be like... Yeah, that's going to be like entering the Thunderdome.
I cannot wait.
I'm going to guarantee. I've already said to Sam, because I'm doing it with Sam from No Brow. I'm already guarantee that I will have a breakdown at some point in the week.
Oh, it's going to be.
It's fucking mad at the MCM.
I'd been to one MCM, but I was like 14, and I went. Hot Fuzz was being promoted.
Oh yeah.
So I went as a child. But I've never been as like a comics person. Is it horrible? Or is it good?
It's full on. It's
full on affair.
Yes, it's a funny one.
I think you're going to love it, Tony.
I think you're right.
You sound like you're going to love it.
Yeah, I think I'm. Well, bearing in mind the last one I went to, I did leg it out there with Andy Cliff saying to me, "Calm down, Tony. Fucking hell, it's only a bloke dressing."
You know, when you're at cons and then you get those break between people's where you can sit down and eat something. Essentially, it's 3 days with none of that. Yeah. You're just constantly talking to people, and there's always something to do.
And it's just people talking as if they think they're in an anime.
Yeah,
they talk in those sort of phrases and scream and run about and stuff. And
there is a bit of that.
And you know my love for cosplayers. In other words, doesn't
legendary.
Exist. Yeah.
Ladies and gents, who out there would like to see Tony just record occasionally, just like 10-second blasts of audio, like from the beginning to the very end, just so we can. It's almost a social experiment, so we can see how a man breaks down.
I think almost just do 5-second bursts, like you get on these sort of of just me going, what the fuck is that geezer doing now? And stuff like that.
It'll be like an audio Vine crossed with One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, I think.
Yeah. Which just with little bits of me doing my morning business or thumping someone very hard in the face.
But be sure to visit him at the No Brow Table. I'm sure.
Yeah, please do. We've got some surprises coming for you at the No Brow Table.
Bring up a subject we was talking about just before we came on. It was the during the week I saw an image going around on Twitter that made me sort of roll my eyes, and I sent it on to Vince and Tony, and it was like from a current X book, and it's like a page out of very similar to the old Marvel handbook. The character handbooks, when you get the kind of the pictures and the bio of a character, and it was of was it a villain or an X-Man, Tony?
I think it's a mutant, isn't it? I don't know whether
they say the affiliation. Okay,
I don't think so. Well, I've got it in front of me here because I bought that issue, much to my regret.
I've read it and I could not believe. We don't usually shit on stuff too much, but I couldn't believe that Marvel had put this out. I was absolutely just. I was shocked. I can't believe it.
It's got to be done as a joke. I can't think. It's got to be an attempt at a joke that just hasn't worked. It's like a joke. My favourite thing is saying it's a joke with the funny bit just taken out.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem to be like a kind of knowing wink or nod that this is a joke. It just. I don't know. Perhaps because I'm not reading the whole comic and I've just seen that one.
Oh, I've read the whole comic and it's awful. Okay. But you can't actually figure out who's doing it. The faces are just awful. But so under powers, its Dark Veil possesses a mutant ability to manipulate, control darkness and shadow due to a connection to the Dark Force, a powerful extra-dimensional energy. This includes teleportation of self and others through this dimension. Okay, cool. I'll dig that. Yeah. Also under powers, she's also been graced with an impeccable wit and is a lip sync assassin. Oh, fuck off.
What the fuck is that? A lip sync assassin.
Yeah.
I just love listening to you two talk about this.
I don't know who this book's been put out for, this kind of stuff's put out for.
Me.
Yeah. It's got love it. In it, it's got real name, occupation, identity, secret-ish, legal status, former aliases, place of birth, and it's got marital status. Do they put marital status in these? I can't remember. And it says marital status, single, but not without suitors. Oh, fuck it. Look, you're not being funny. Whoever wrote this is just not funny at all.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, God.
It's like basic take.
It's like a 12-year-old talking on Snapchat. It's like,
But who do you think, like within a publishing company, would have written that?
It's a writer. I'm not going to name the writer. He is credited, and I don't want to be horrible, but it's just I'm being horrible. But I don't want to name the person and come back on them. But the who commissioned someone to? Who's that aimed at? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. We have to put this up in the group to kind of get a bit of feedback on it, but I'm just absolutely bewildered. I was like, what?
There may be people. There may be some of you out there who actually quite like it if you see it.
Yeah,
but that's why.
I'd be surprised the other people who buy an X-Men comic with all good meaning and trying to be nice about it. I don't know, but to me, that's not the worst thing about the comic. Actually, it's just bewildering and just not funny and just like. But the worst thing about the comic is the art. It's just isn't. I can't tell who anyone is.
Is it an actual X-Men? Is it an X-Men title, or is it like a single character title? I can't remember what.
No, it's an Uncanny X-Men. It's a single issue. I think it's like a special. Or something.
So it's actually Uncanny X-Men.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I can't say too much about it, but just off the top of my head, it goes against the tone of what I always considered Uncanny X-Men to be. But
yeah, when you kind of got the Jim Lee, like the blue and the gold team, and just that
Claremont and.
Yeah, absolutely iconic stuff, and I don't know.
It's just back to my usual thing. It's just a load of kids arguing and not being particularly interesting, and the art is just very subpar. I'll be honest with you.
I was saying all that kind of writing and that what the stories are telling. Maybe there is a place that I'd understand why you'd want to put it in the big X-Men book.
Yeah,
but I don't. It feels like it's kind of you're cramming in an indie film into a AAA blockbuster.
You're cramming in a conversation on Snapchat between idiots.
Oh well, yeah.
There you go. Says the 50-year-old man. Says the 50-year-old man.
Yeah, that's why more people need to read indie comics. That's why.
Exactly.
Yeah. And the indie voices. Josh, were you brought up with like the big two, or did you? How did you?
I liked Spider-Man when I was a child. Yeah, I like Spider-Man. I like Batman, and then I didn't really read proper comics though. I was reading like British kids comics that were like based off Spider-Man. It's like Panini, I think, would do one.
Okay. Yeah.
No legit comics, and then I started reading. There was these bumper UK monthly editions of like American superhero comics that are always like
that you get in double
4 years behind or whatever. Yeah. So I used to read that, and then I sort of went off it for a bit, really, and then I came back in school with like Umbrella Academy. I remember that was like an early book where I started reading comics again.
Oh, good shout.
Like Scott Pilgrim and stuff, and then I got back into it a little bit. So I was reading all like Grant Morrison stuff in like high school, at the end of high school or whatever.
Yeah.
So then I would I would see some superhero stuff, and then I had a pull list, but I can't keep up with anything. I'm not very good at like.
That's one of the tricky things, isn't it? It's like some of these titles, especially now. If you want to try, just say one of the bigger titles from one of the bigger companies, they're releasing them at such a rate that by the time and like. I have a to read pile that's getting bigger because of all the independent stuff anyway. So I have to forego pretty much a lot of the big books because there just isn't enough time. There isn't enough time.
I don't have enough time. We talked about this before. I've been buying the X-Men and Avengers for 40 odd years, and at the moment I'm just finding it really hard to keep up. Mostly for sort of cross events and stuff, cross title events, and it's just like.
Well, I would just order stuff. There's just too much to like. Like I would get stuff in like on the pull list. And then I would just like literally not think about it as soon as I got home, and then I'd be actively not thinking about it so much that I would like forget to cancel it. So I've just got issues and issues and issues of stuff that I've just never read or like really wanted. So I don't know. There's some good stuff though. I'm still picking stuff up.
I'm enjoying. Speaking of Marvel, I'm enjoying Punisher at the moment. I think that's really good. Yeah, there are some good stuff.
I get trades that you guys recommend, or I read that are really good. As opposed to getting the individual issues now, because it's a bit too much of a ball ache for me.
Yeah. I caught up on the Avengers this week, Jason Aaron's Avengers, and it's very different. It's in the majority okay. There's a sort of war with the vampires, and I kind of enjoyed that. It was all right,
Okay.
Which Avengers has got Conan in it?
That's happening, isn't it? No, I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Conan's he has popped up in the modern day Marvel universe before, hasn't he?
In a What If, though, wasn't it?
Yeah. That's when they had the white pimp suit and a Jaguar or something.
I read the Belit. Is how do you say her name? Is it Belit? Is his girlfriend in she was a sort of pirate, wasn't she? Pirate queen.
Yeah. Okay.
And I read an amazing cover this week for the issue, and I read the insides, and it looks like cross between Riverdale and Conan, and I'm like, oh.
Now that is a book.
Again, sounds quite good.
Yeah,
Conan and Archie.
But Josh, something you said there, like about like not reading, just falling out of like a run of comics and stuff. When you started making like your own work, was that something definitely in your mind? Like, Global Wrestling Alliance. There's obviously
Glorious
Wrestling Alliance. Sorry, I was actually thinking. I think there's actually a wrestling federation called that, or there was. The one I just said.
It's hard. It's a Google again. It's a Google issue.
Oh, damn Google! Well, that'll get me every time. But when you create your comics, do you think of them as more like sort of one shots with an underlying, ongoing story and character development throughout?
Yeah, because I'm quite slow as well, so it takes me quite a long time to like get 24 pages out. So I knew I wanted to kind of, even when I was doing the first one was designed as like I would just be one issue and then I would just stop doing it. And so everything was supposed to just be like, okay, this will just be like a satisfying reading experience on its own. I don't need to like wait a year for me to do a second one. So then when I was doing more of them, that's kind of what I worked to. just trying to make them kind of. I don't put like issue numbers on them, so hopefully you could read them roughly.
Yeah, I noticed that with Apocalypse that I was reading. Yeah.
Apocalypse though, one's like the last one and the one I'm doing now, they do have like direct plot line evolution things where like it does help to have actually read them in sequential order. But the first two definitely, I was just like, I would like these to just like stand alone.
Yeah.
Right.
Because like even the small amount of superhero comics I read, like a monthly is just like not a satisfying way to read anything. I don't think. Like it's always much more of a like full experience for me if I get to like read a trade and just read 6 back to back, because they don't take like comics take like ages to make and they don't take any time at all to read.
Yeah, I know. So, yeah, exactly.
So really, like 22 pages, unless like I've got like a 6-panel grid, and they're fairly text heavy, so that maybe they take longer than like an image book would take to read, maybe. But I don't know. But it's still like a really fast thing to go through, and I don't think you'd remember anything year to year if I had like ongoing plot development stuff. So,
but you do. I think you're doing yourself a slight disservice there.
Yeah.
You do have ongoing plots, don't you? Like the guy who writes poetry.
Oh,
you know,
Death Machine.
Love that
I
one.
love Death Machine.
Well, I think those things you kind of try and fiddle with it a bit in the back, so they're like they've got it. If you read everything, you could see like a development to what they were doing. But really, like if you look at what they're doing issue to issue, it's kind of a they've got like a big scene or whatever. You can kind of sum up their like the crux of the character within the issue, so you don't need to know anything previously, and then you kind of they should work alone and as part of like a bigger thing, hopefully.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
Plus,
but
I always
do.
I do like a little like cast breakout at the start, so you reintroduce everyone every time you open the book.
Yeah.
Little tricks to stop me from having to draw a comic every month.
But you do tie a lot of threads up, don't you? You do go through a lot of. There's a lot going on in it. You've got the problem with the business, and you've got the guy who writes poetry. Then, there's the girl who's sort of basically moonlighting as another wrestler, and you do tie them all up though. They do all come together, don't they?
Yeah, and I'm making a 4th final-ish chapter for the Kickstarter. And that, because that's not coming out alone, that is like just going to be in the book.
Right.
That stuff will tie everything up then, so that's kind of more of like a conventional end, I suppose.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens to Great Carp's
see what happens to him.
Cheese grater.
It's a key component to the finale.
I mean, I think we have to put this into context.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit what it's about. Yeah.
So it's the comic is called Glorious Wrestling Alliance, and it's a sort of a backstage look at a fictional wrestling promotion. So every issue follows like a bunch of different wrestlers. So we've got Great Carp, who's kind of he's their Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Prior to the race,
he's kind of the alpha male.
Yeah, he's the alpha.
Yeah.
He's the big fish. And we've got fishes at the end. Then we've got Gravy Train, who's got a body like a gravy boat.
Makes me laugh.
When I did the first one, I think I thought a gravy boat was called a Gravy Train, and I think I thought the pun was better than it was, and I've just been stuck with it for like 4 years.
One of my favourite things is in Apocalypse, where there's a bit where he's using a move and it's just called Brown Mist, and that
I've used that accidentally.
That's the two things.
Yeah.
There's a move called Green Mist. The wrestlers will sometimes shoot green mist from their faces.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, that's a real thing. And also, I just got potty mind.
Yeah.
And
it was immediately. That's a character that's immediately funny because he's got a body like a gravy boat, but
he's hammered physically.
Yeah, but he wants to change his gimmick and try to be something else.
So he becomes the bad guy, doesn't he? He's like almost like he's a bit of a shit bad guy, though, isn't he? He's not like
not a great bad guy. I mean, essentially, all of his ideas for gimmicks were things that were shaped like his body. So he was a tank and a boat like a real boat, a big shoe, and then I think the one he settled on was just him, but with some sunglasses on, and he's just a bit slightly more annoying. So yeah, we've got Death Machine, who's a poet.
Death Machine's my favourite character. Not really completely because he looks a little bit like me, but tiny bit. It was in fact he's written this book. He writes poetry, doesn't he? And he's written a book called Dreams Unsolved.
Oh, so
poems by Death Machine, which is just like it's just so fucking meta for the whole of comics that it just like amuses me no end.
And like he's halfway through like a match, and there's a thought bubble. Yes, for thought bubbles, by the way, something that should come back.
Yes, definitely. Yeah,
but in his thought bubble, he's thinking, "What rhymes with grapefruit?" So good. Oh, so good.
And he's got. What's he got on his head? Is it kill? He's got a tattoo. He's
got a tattoo on his head that says kill.
Yeah, and he does that thing where we all meet our heroes and they're horrible to us, and they just make us look like idiots, and we walk away saying what a dick. And I've got the panel in front of me. He says what a dick, but he's so cool.
He's the most real.
He is. That's him. You're speaking through him. I can tell you, my friend. I can see it. Yeah, definitely.
Do a lot of comic shows.
Yeah. So you got one more. So you're kickstarting at the moment, is that right?
Yes, kickstarting at the moment. We're 24 days. We've got 24 days left.
Yeah.
We're 92% of the way there, so we need 80 more pounds.
Hey.
Oh, nice one.
So let's try and get 80 more pounds now in the next couple of hours.
Yeah,
I went flyering yesterday. Not so much for the Kickstarter, but I did do some Kickstarter flyering. I did comic show flyering. I'm a proper huckster. I like to sell.
Well, you got to be a hustler now, don't you? Especially if you're like doing Kickstarters. Yeah. Is it your first? Is it your first Kickstarter?
It's my first Kickstarter. Yeah, it's exciting. I don't know anything about it.
How have you found the process so far?
Yeah, it's good. I like looking at the graph. I've talked about this before on another podcast. I like looking at the graph a lot.
Oh, I heard you say this. Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't move fast enough to really keep my interest, but I keep checking back all the time. Yeah, it's really addictive.
Do you get I presume it's like a surge of activity at the beginning, then a surge near the end of it, and then between the mid bit, it's a bit, what
are you talking about?
Flat.
The graph. You're talking about Kickstarters?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you look at my graph, it's like a lowercase r. It went up at the start, and now it's sort of arcing off.
Okay.
But it can't go down. That's what I like about it. It can only go flat or up.
I'm just looking at the tiers you've got on yours as well. So you've got not the physical tiers, not the man tiers that we all cry at Kickstarters, but the have you got? Do you write a poem for someone? Is there something where you write a poem?
I don't write the poem. Death Machine, the professional.
Yeah, of course, Death Machine. Come on, Tony.
And I'll get it off him, and then I'll forward it to your house.
And I think it says something like it might be written on a napkin or something.
Wherever he's got lying around.
Good. Make it authentic.
He's a busy guy.
He's busy. He hasn't got stationery.
No, yeah.
Got one notepad.
Machine.
He's on the road in the bus all the time.
Yeah. He's got zine fairs to go to.
I mean, whether you're a wrestling fan or not, folks, I mean, this does appeal to that side of me. But just the humour and the characters on show. I mean, I think one of the best. As soon as I knew it was within the first 3 pages of the first issue, I thought, yes, I'm going to like this, because you do a wonderful sort of like an isometric map. Is that what it is? Of the offices behind the doors as everyone's walking. Just after Great Carp has done a match, and you plot his journey through the offices and people saying hello to him, and that's your sort of map to point out characters. And I mean, immediately I was laughing. I mean, one of my favourites is Eric Pummel, who's a legendary puncher. I mean, just that panel in itself. I looked at it and I thought, oh, I love it. It reminds me of like some video game stuff as well. Like how hard was that sort of spread to do? Because it's a double page spread, isn't it?
Yeah, that's that. I remember doing that, and I sort of I think I made it in in a 3D program first to like figure out how the rules would like fit together, and then I just realised I was stupid and I just drew it. But yeah, it was logistically difficult. It's easier now because I did that panel like quite early on.
Yeah.
And I think in doing it, I decided that like if I ever do like a wide, I'll do it isometric to like keep this like video game kind of look.
Yeah.
But I hadn't established any of that when I was starting, so it was a lot of like figuring out the look for the book. I think I designed characters on that little thing as well. Like I drew them for the first time in that little view, and then I had to like figure out what they would look like if you gone to a close up and stuff.
Oh wow! So is that it was sort of like playing and sort of coming up with jokes? I guess the names.
The names come afterwards, probably.
Yeah, I mean, when did the name Ed Toilet?
No, that's probably a duress type situation where there was a box that a name needed to go in.
And what a name for a manager, Ed Toilet.
I brought him back in the third issue because I thought it was a good name. But I don't think I ever mentioned his name in the third. Oh, maybe I do. I'm not sure. I just thought it was good, like, see if I could build a full character based on the Ed Toilet. And I couldn't.
I mean,
but you're not purely a wrestling creator, are you? You do other stuff. Is that right?
I do other stuff, and to be honest, when I started this book, I didn't, love wrestling really. I liked wrestling video games, but I wasn't like actively watching wrestling. So it was more just like the situation and the aesthetic of like those like SNES game, wrestling SNES games, and like old Japanese action figures and stuff. Like the look of it, I wanted to emulate more than anything. So I think you could read this without really caring about.
Yeah,
wrestling.
I mean, I haven't seen a wrestling. I've never watched American wrestling. I watched British wrestling because I reference it in Cockney Kung Fu, but I've never seen American wrestling. But I still get it. I still understand it. Yeah, Big Daddy and Giant Haystacks, and if you read Cockney Kung Fu, Giant Haystacks makes an appearance. He's called
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And Kendo Nagasaki and all these sort of places, and that was real. It used to be like they used to sometimes if Giant Haystacks or one of the baddies got anywhere near the side of the stage, one of the promoters will have paid one of the grannies in the audience to go and hit him with a handbag and stuff like that. It wasn't quite, and usually it was in some like terrible looking like church hall or old garage or something, and it was real low rent wrestling. Now it was millions of it goes into the American stuff, but this stuff was just some. I can't remember who said this, but someone said they just look like they've got the physiques of dart players, most of them. And they were like, everyone, you see in the movies, you see some bloke and he's proper buff and he's got a six pack. But if you went down the local pub, he'd last about 2 seconds.
Yeah.
If you got a rough local pub, and they look like the proper nutty hard nuts from the pub who drink like light and bitter every night.
They look like they hang around flat roof pubs.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
It's weird because in the UK now, you've got like you get that again now, where people are putting on shows in like community centres and stuff like that. But I think the difference now is that like everyone who comes up, because I've started going to wrestling shows again since doing the comic, because there's some stuff going on in Cardiff, and they're all kids who grew up watching it. So instead, where they must have just before gone to like pubs and just found the hardest looking man and just been like, you could probably make some money just pretending to be slapped. Now it's like there's a really high skill level and like aspiration to like art almost, which is quite good.
Yeah.
So it's mad. I was sort of come full circle.
And they want,
I think
they want
those
to put
guys
on these
again,
shows. They want to put on shows that look like the stuff that they used to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, even if the backdrop is just like a bingo hall or whatever, like the actual stuff that's going on in the ring and what they're like getting across is really, it's like a high level. And I think that the WWE or whatever, the wrestling company, they've started, they try to like muscle in on like the UK scene or whatever, and they've started running like UK based shows, and they're all set in like ballrooms. And so it's like fully the same thing again. They're like churches and ballrooms.
They're like the old places that used to be cinemas that are now like bingo halls.
Yeah, exactly.
And, with the same crowd probably.
Yeah.
I like that. Less smoking and less gin and tonics, but
there's no fags in them.
Yeah. I'm a proper wrestling nerd. I could probably talk about this for hours, but we're not going to. So how have you found, since the first issue, and now obviously you're doing the fourth one as we speak, part of the Kickstarter and stuff, how have you found that a comic like this has been like on the sort of like convention circuit, or like, you know, where have you taken it? How's the response been?
Yeah, it's been good. I mean, it's kind of my first long comic. Yeah. Like the first thing I could sell at shows and stuff. So I've never really had much more experience with anything else. I did a collection called Human Garbage with good comics. So that's the only thing I can really compare it to. But yeah, the reception's been good. Everyone who comes up always says nice things. But then why would you go up to someone and tell them you hated it?
Mind you, so I'm getting this is comics. We did just rag on Marvel for about 10 minutes at the start.
Yeah. I was silent throughout that conversation. Yeah, it's been good. Everyone seems to like it. That comes up. I know some people in America like it as well. I sent some stuff over there. Nice. So I don't know if it's like pockets of wrestling fans within sort of mini comics.
Yeah.
And then there's just kind of general people who walk past who seem to enjoy it.
Yeah.
I feel weird selling it to like what age I should sell it to. Do you know what I mean? Like if kids, because it looks like kids could read it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For, you know, there's probably like a 14+ age limit on there.
Okay.
Yeah. But
so it's like an Adult Swim cartoon rather than...
It's like a 80s Simpsons. Like Simpsons didn't, like they had like time and stuff, weren't they? So yeah, the Simpsons.
Yeah. Well,
it's been great to take it around. I've done like you know, Bristol closed this year, and I think I did Bristol like 4 years in a row or 3 years in a row.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
You know, LCAF, Thought Bubble. So I've been taking it everywhere, and it's just it's been cool. Again, you know, meeting people who've read it already is like really mad. You know, where they found it
when they come back for issue 2 or issue 3 and stuff. What was that like? What was that like the first time that happened to you?
Yeah, sort of. You just can't really believe it that someone read it and then remembered about it for a year, like held on to, and then wanted it again. Yes, it's a good.
I always like the people who remember it better than you do.
Yeah.
And they say something about something.
I've just said yes to everything you've said. I don't remember any of it.
Yeah. Like comics that you wrote like 5-6 years ago, people will start talking to you about, and I think, I don't remember any of that.
Yeah.
I don't say it, but I just have that look in my eye sometimes, which I try and fake. You know,
I've always got that look in my eye.
I've been asked like questions about background stuff on characters that I've not ever considered. They say, "What about this?" Yeah, that sounds good. I don't want to say, "Don't you know?" It's like, no, I don't. I don't know fucking everything about it.
Well, yeah, like I always think like I don't try and think about like meaning of comics and stuff while I'm writing them, but because I've got like a lot of time where like it takes ages to draw a page, you've got a lot of time to just like sit and think about it. I'll sort of like have a little think like, oh, I wonder what this book's about or whatnot. Then I'll read a review and it'll just be like totally different, like stuff I've never considered. So I've just decided that they're all right now, and I've changed what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I feel like it's like man's inhumanity to man. Yep, that's what it's about.
Yeah.
There. I did hear on the that other podcast you were talking about making action figures.
Oh yeah.
I made a lot of action figures. Well, I made some action figures.
They're all sold out.
They're all sold out. I put 20 up on the Kickstarter as sort of like a deluxe bundle, and these are action figures modelled after the Great Carp, the lead of our Glorious Wrestling Alliance, and I made them myself in my house. And it was an arduous process. Hand painted, hand molded, hand poured. I poured like epoxy resin into a mold. I wrecked a bath. Talked about that on the Good Comics podcast.
Yeah, you're not getting your deposit back apparently.
I destroyed a bath. So they are real monuments to doing something just because you think it would be funny, and then it takes ages to do, and you wish you hadn't started doing it. So 20 of them are gone. But I'm looking at maybe putting 5 more or something, or 10 more on before the end of the Kickstarter. Nice. But then that means I have to make 10 more, and I don't know if I can cope.
Because you actually physically injured yourself with like reacting to the chemicals.
Well, the jury's out.
Ah.
I don't know. I think I might have got a rash off some detergent, but it definitely coincided with a time where I was playing with a lot of chemicals. I don't know.
Let's just hope it's an STD and it's not anything like that. You know.
I went. This is how puzzled my doctor was, because they said have some steroid cream for this rash with no discernible cause. And I said, okay, thank you. And then I went back and I said, it's not working. Do you think it could be something else? And they said, we don't know. Try the scabies cream. So I didn't use the scabies cream, but I was pretty sure the same scabies.
Yeah.
And it was just it was essentially action figure chemicals. Yeah. No.
Okay.
Not old person and baby like fleas. Is what I found out scabies was.
Yeah.
So are there any wrestlers that inspired you? Is there any? Because I mean, to be fair, it's hard to do a completely serious wrestling comic, isn't it? Because it's such a laughable fucking. And I know people will kill me for saying this, but sport and I'm doing that thing with my fingers. Do you know what I mean?
Sports entertainment.
What are you doing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
You know what I'm doing. It's kind of not a serious thing, is it? Really?
It's difficult to portray seriously. Like I suppose there's I think there's Ringside coming out from Image, or it might have been cancelled, or is still going on.
Yeah,
but that's like a crime story on the backdrop of wrestling.
Yeah.
There's I think there's some like manga from the 80s that was like biography, so it would be like the personal lives of wrestlers. But I don't know what. I've never seen that like translated. But for the most part, it's difficult to really do a full serious take on it.
There's two. I've actually pledged to two wrestling. And I'm not a wrestling fan. I'm a fan of your comics, but I'm pledged to two wrestling comics at the moment. So one is yours, and one is called One Fall by David Walker. First issue of a comic series for fans of wrestling and fans of monsters. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's the combo.
Yeah, it's like a werewolf wrestling comic.
Well, there's also that brilliant The Legend of La Mariposa by
of course.
James Lawrence, which is a fantastic title.
Guest.
Yeah,
we're blessed because usually like you don't get the same subject matter in kind of indie comics, but this we've got two great and completely different takes on wrestling.
Yeah,
and there's some other like there's a guy Lucas Kowalczyk from Poland.
Of course,
we're friends. Yeah,
he does some good stuff as well. So
he does some nutty stuff. Yeah,
very nice stuff.
Have you done any crossover events? Have you tried to sell it at a wrestling event yet?
No. I don't know how I would go down really. I suppose at wrestling events they kind of the wrestlers get behind. It's really similar to comics. They'll sell merch from behind a table for like a few hours or an hour afterwards, and I don't feel like I would do well bustling into their space.
But I think what I like about this comic is it deals with that whole behind the curtain. It's not trying to deal with the matches being like as if they're a real thing. It's also like behind the scenes and the office sort of politics, or just their day-to-day life, or how they get to a stadium or something like that. And I think there's definitely I think a show like that, I think that would probably go down quite well. I think if you've got a sort of like a certain flavour to your work, I think it helps. Why not try it? It brings to mind Battle Pug by Mike. What's his name? I've got his name. Mike Norton. There was Battle Pug. Obviously, that's a Conan book where he's riding a giant pug dog. But he actually went to like dog shows and sold it at dog shows, and apparently he did quite well because unlike, as he said on an interview, at a convention he's there with Battle Pug surrounded by lots of other comic books and lots of other different flavours. At a dog show there wasn't another comic book there. So he
just surrounded by pugs.
Yeah. So
I mean, I had this conversation with Humanoids about why aren't they selling their erotic comics at places like Erotica, and for that same reason, you've got all these people who are like bit sauced up, aren't they? And they see something by written by Jodorowsky with some beautiful art, they're gonna think about it, aren't they?
Yeah.
And they're probably the people with disposable income to pay for it.
Yeah, I mean, I would man that table if they wanted.
Yeah.
I'm always looking for shows to sell that.
So obviously with the Kickstarter, what you look at, I mean, this is the trade, isn't it? Was it always the dream to have a collected book? I think
always a dream to have a book on a bookshelf.
Oh,
Static, not in a box, not in a shoebox, out there. So that was the dream.
Larson got quoted saying the reason he keeps making comics is when he sees it like printed there next to him. I guess is that the same for you? I mean, it's definitely the case for me.
I don't know if I've just got boxes of like mini comics. I haven't got any real like shelf filler, so it's all in store. But I do love to see them when they come back from the printer. I never had like anything weird happen. Yeah, so it's always a really good feeling. So I'm looking forward to hopefully this getting funded and that coming through.
Sure.
But I just wanted to put it together in like the most sort of nice, lavish way that we could. Really.
Yeah.
So we're £90, I think £80, I can't remember, away from it coming out as a paperback. But the new dream, is to get it to 3,000. So I can do it as a hardback, because I found out that's not as expensive as I thought it would be to do.
Nice.
And that will look really good.
Yeah.
So I can't wait. I'm
Just
really
bear in mind the postage, my friend. Bear in mind the postage.
Yeah, I've made a little postage buffer.
Oh,
I guess with the hard.
I'm not very good at maths, so it could have been it could be wrong.
I guess with the
I'm not very good at maths or weights. Both things.
Oh God.
What? Calculating weights or doing weights?
Just feeling both. I'm not very good at lifting weights or just judging the weight of something by feeling it.
Yeah.
Be shit at a carnival.
This conversation could quite easily go completely off.
Sorry, but yes.
Yeah, I was trying to think. Would you be able to go to a wrestling show and then flog a few comics? I mean, I guess if you go in contact with the promoters and said, "This is what I want to do," I could speak to
people. Like I'm probably going to do a T-shirt for a guy who's a wrestler. Yeah. I know some people who know some people. I could ask, but I don't wanna. It's just because I know there's limited space, and I'd be like pushing my comics in front of people's faces if they don't want them,
And if you did that, there's a room full of muscular men who are well versed in the art kicking ass.
Well, I wanted to be beaten on video for the Kickstarter video.
Yeah,
I wanted to get like in the ring, but I couldn't get it. I couldn't sort it out. I couldn't make it happen.
That'd be great.
I wanted to get thrown through a table, like when they smash like a champagne bottle against a ship when it launches. I wanted to be thrown through like some table or something as like a band gesture and stuff. I couldn't get it together.
I presume that takes a fair bit of training to get that that level.
I think it's harder to throw someone in than it is to just be thrown.
Okay.
I haven't got that many options. You just got to let gravity do the work and hope for the best.
Yeah, because you're literally putting your body in another person's hands to then smash through a piece of furniture.
Getting powerbombed for a trestle table.
Then you got another exhibitor going, "Oh, my stuff was on that."
And no half tables.
Just do it at a zine fair. Just make sure you're recording.
Well, we got the show on Sunday, so I can still...
Yes. I love it when a guest does a segue. Obviously, we've been talking about it for a little bit, but not only are you doing a Kickstarter and also making your comics and stuff, now you got together with some people and decided to put on a little show in Cardiff as well. And rather than us ruin it every week, we're trying to tell people where it is. It's the Cardiff Comics Carnival. Have I got that right?
Cardiff Comics Carnival. 10 feet tall. Oh, sorry, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, take it away. Tell us more
about
here we
go. Let's do it. Cardiff Comics Carnival, 10 feet tall, March 24th, Sunday, this coming Sunday. It's free entry for all. I'm just trying to get a list of exhibitors up. I'm failing to do that. I can't do it quick enough. But I know Awesome Comics Podcast are going to be there. Comics are going to be there. Ed Cheverton is going to be there. Alice Urbino, Abby Bailey, Joe Glass. Lots of great cartoonists from Bristol and Cardiff and beyond.
There's a lot of people going to this. There's a lot of people. So how did this show come about?
I'd always wanted to do a show in Cardiff with me and Johan would always talk about possibly doing one. But there was always, it's hard to set up, and there was always CIC, which is like a good show, was around in Cardiff. But then they took a year off, and our friend Andrew, who's also co-running the show with us, from 10 Feet Tall, he asked if we'd like to do it. They were looking on to put like a comics event on. So we said yes, and we sorted it out.
So the venue themselves were actually looking to put on a comic
event?
event?
The venue, someone who worked at the venue wanted to do it, Andrew, and the people at the venue, everyone else was really behind it and thought it was a good idea. So they kind of approached us, which was mad.
Yeah, I mean, obviously for us, I mean, me and Tony, we go everywhere together, but we haven't. But whenever you go to any new sort of comic venue or exhibition space, you're always wondering what it's going to be like, what the setup's going to be like. So 10 Feet Tall is a bit different, isn't it? Like a bar normally, isn't it? But there's several.
So 10 Feet
layers?
Tall is like an event space and a bar,
Right.
and it's on a couple of floors. So there'll be a bar open through the day, and there should be food served through the day on like the lowest floor.
Yeah.
And then there'll be a couple of floors of exhibitors upstairs. And it's a really good layout. I've laid the tables out after hours in the dark, tested it, and it looks really good. There's going to be, we've got like 30 half tables full of exhibitors. Everyone's got a load of space. There's going to be a lot of room for people to walk around, mill about, and check comics out in. It's in a really good location as well. It's like the centre of Cardiff.
Yeah, it's slap bang in the centre, isn't it?
It's right there. So I think it's going to be a really good day. And it's supposed to be sunny, I think.
Oh, nice.
That's always
torrential rain. So yeah, I think it'll be great. And hopefully we can, this is our first one, so we need to test it out and see how it goes. But hopefully we can run another one next year or later this year, maybe.
Yeah, see what the teething, well, not teething problems, but see what you can iron out and test things out and see how the tables. Yeah.
So is it kind of a little bit like Shake, maybe a little bit like that? Is that kind of the plan?
It'll be Shake-esque, yeah. If you've ever been to Shake, it'll be similar to Shake, which is a great show in Bristol. It won't be as like full on as maybe BCCF, but it'll be Shake comparable.
Cool. And it's over a series of floors. It's sort of. Did I hear you say it's over 3 floors before?
Yeah, it'll be over 3 floors. Or the show will be over 2 floors, but there's like a downstairs bit so you can have food as well.
So
okay,
what is how quickly did this come about? Because it just sort of it seemed to appear on our radar fairly, quickly.
It's been about it was the end of last year we started setting it up, but we didn't email potential exhibitors until the start of this year. But because we've got the venue set up and they are an event space, so they're multi-purpose. In terms of logistics and setting up, there wasn't a load to do. Like we didn't have to like hire tables and stuff like that, So it's really our focus has just been on getting support for it, making sure people know about it, and just getting a really good list of exhibitors up.
And you're already familiar with the venue, I guess, as well. I've
been there.
Have they done similar sort of things there? Have they put on other sort of events that you've been to and seen that?
No, they've never done like a comics event. They've done, they'll put gigs on.
Yeah.
I think they've done illustration fairs at some point in the past.
Oh, nice.
But not recently. I know. They've taken like arts classes there, and like art exhibition type stuff has gone on there. So it's suited for it, but it's never done anything like this. So it'll be good for them to see kind of what it's like.
Yeah.
And maybe look to doing more stuff like this in the future.
And what you say you've been out flying today? What sort of promotion have you done around it? So,
on a big sandwich board with I wrote 3 C's on it, and I just walked up and down Cardiff town. With a bell. No, I just went to some shops and I gave them some flyers to put out and put some posters up in the shop front.
Don't do yourself down. You've got like an Instagram page and a Facebook page, and you've got all this sort of thing as well.
We have got that. We've got. I've learnt about software that will allow you to schedule social media posts, and it's changed my life. And I've also it's given me, I think, carpal tunnel. My thumb really hurts a lot more than it did before I started trying to run the social media for the show. So
what software is this then? I'm just asking for a friend.
Okay. It's Later. It's called Later. Shout out to Later.
I've heard of this. Yeah.
Sorting me out. Now I have to duplicate posts. Big up.
Brilliant. Because we could do stuff like that for the Kickstarter call out. For the APC.
So you guys are running the Kickstarter this week?
No. Well, we do a thing on
Prolix
Thursday.
is running a Kickstarter.
Yes.
It's unconnected to you guys.
Yeah. I think something like that is essential for a Kickstarter, though, isn't it? Or certainly if you're promoting anything. And I know, obviously, when you have a campaign or an event or something, you really do have to keep banging the drum for it. I know some people are like, I'm so sick of hearing about Kickstarters, or I'm not so sick of hearing. Tough tits, because if I had a Kickstarter, I'd still have to shout about it all the time. Because
I think the thing is although I haven't run one, I've been a little bit more behind the scenes for a couple of Little Heroes ones, and I've been privy to the list of names who pledges and who doesn't. And I think what you realise is when you're running a Kickstarter, I don't know if you thought this, Josh, but when you're running a Kickstarter, you see basically who hasn't pledged, and you know those posts will reach them because they're part of that. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
And so
I'll
I know
reach
that
them as well because I know where they live and I can find them.
Exactly.
And I'll make them pledge.
Yeah. I find that text messages to their mums and dads and grandparents at work as well. So
I bought a load of old magazines to cut letters out of.
That's always nice. Going old school like that.
Yeah. It does get to me a bit where you see. And this is the bitter old man in me once again, but there are a lot of people there who I have pledged to their Kickstarters, and you know, come on, mate, pledge £1. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get me, don't you?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who we promoted their Kickstarters for them. We pledged to their Kickstarters, and like, come on, geezer, just £1. That's all it's going to take me. Do you know what I mean?
Come on, just £1, sir.
I've often said, I pledged that Kickstarter, and then I'll get the emails, do that. And then, it's finished. I'm like, fuck.
It's coming out. Well, a lot of people are telling me that they wait until payday, but Kickstarter doesn't take the money out until after
exactly.
it's done.
Yeah.
So to those people, I say, back it now. Or I'm on to you.
Or be more financially aware, because if you can't pledge £1 before
I was going to
payday,
say, if
you know what I mean?
if it's all that's standing between you and financial ruin is £1.
Yeah.
I mean, you got bigger issues than worrying about.
And they tell you whilst they're eating their Marks and Spencer's lunch and drinking from their Starbucks cup. It's like, okay.
Mate, I have a conversation like this with someone virtually. They do at the end of the month. They tell me how they got hardly any money and they're going out every lunchtime and coming in with a Starbucks every morning. I was like, well, that's where your money's going.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Buy yourself a flask.
Yeah.
and pledge to Josh's Kickstarter. Yeah. With that flask,
I might make
lives.
Might add a flask reward.
It's
still young. I've got 25 days left. I can add stuff. I might
stretch goal, my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, I wonder how you go about doing that. You know those old school sort of flasks you used to get with your lunch boxes. I wonder how easy it is to get those. That'd be brilliant.
I'm on the lookout for one of them. I've got to tell you.
I bet his Death Machine's got a flask. I bet he's got one he takes to shows with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever drawn a flask.
Yeah.
What a thought.
The world is your oyster.
Somebody's got to have done one of those hipster hip flasks, haven't they? They've got to have done one of them as part of a Kickstarter. You know those little ones that you put whiskey in?
One of those little
that the sort of sleazy character in a movie's always drinking out of, aren't they?
Yeah. I saw one where it's like a synthetic animal horn, so you drink out of that, like with a top on. I was like, that is so fucking wanky.
Yeah,
it's like a leather sling. You'd have to like wear it on you because it's.
I'll tell you what. If I'm at work in the canteen at work and someone pulls out a fucking drinking horn, I'm going to punch them directly in their face straight away.
I know what I'm bringing with me on Sunday.
Yeah.
Do you want some Horlicks, Tony?
Yeah. Right. You turn around and
taste my horn.
We'll be having a big roll around destroying the table. You pull your horn. You'll hear.
And then Tony will power bomb me through one of them.
Talk about
you can elbow.
Yeah.
I went out leafleting for a class I was running like years ago, and I did it in July, and I spent the entire day. I must have handed out a good couple, maybe 400 or 500 flyers, and at the end of the day, I fucking had sunstroke. I didn't really think about it, and I was just literally walking around for about 3 or 4 hours in the sun. And
you got to be careful where you fly these days. I remember flying for Comica years ago. And being thrown out of the train station. They said, you can't fly in it. I said, well, I'm not standing out flyers.
Oh, I didn't do that sort of fly. I wasn't that committed. I just went to some shops. All my flying was indoors. I wouldn't,
Okay.
I wouldn't be able to stand out and give people flyers on the
It's
street.
embarrassing, isn't
Their
it?
eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. If you have a hard time with rejection, don't stand out in the street handing out flyers. You'll be fucking crushed within minutes. I've done that, and I was like, nah. People said, nah, it's all right. I always remember this one old boy come up and said, "What's this geezer selling?" Then laughing. I'll just take the fucking flyer. I roared inside my head.
Will you have with that in mind, will you have someone on the day with outside the venue with some flyers?
Maybe I'll rope someone in. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, me, Johan, and Andrew will technically have a table, so there'll be a CCC table where we'll have our comics out, but we won't be selling. We'll be flitting around, and there'll be someone there to take information. But we'll sort of tag team that, and everyone else, me and whoever else, will just be running around sorting problems out, potentially leafleting people to come in.
Yeah,
we're going to be an agile crew. I'm making the gesture with my fingers where I put two hands together.
Yeah. What time are you going to have your first drink, do you think? What time will be the first alcoholic drink?
An hour before it opens, probably. I don't drink very much, so I will have one at the end.
Right. Okay.
Unless I have to drive.
Yes, because you should.
You'll have two.
Yeah,
I'll have two. I'll have 5 on the head.
No, we're seriously looking forward to it.
We are.
No, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be good.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing you guys. Is everyone going to be there? Are you all going to be there?
Are you asking if Dan's going to be there? Everyone always asks about Dan. They don't care about us, do they, Tony?
Yeah. Where's Dan? They come over and go. Yeah. Have you seen the Awesome Comics Anthology? They'll go. Where's Dan?
Yeah.
I'll be down there in London.
You will.
Sadly.
Yeah.
Just save all the ladies. Yeah, you have. I've been to a Cardiff Jazz Club. Save all the ladies for us, Josh. Save them for us, mate.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Look, I didn't get into this comic game for this sort of corruption. I have
welcome it now that I'm involved.
Apology I have to make. I took the CCC money is in a PayPal where all exhibitors have paid table fees to a PayPal. Yesterday, it was brought to my attention that I accidentally spent 10 of those pounds on Fire Pro Wrestling DLC on Steam.
Oh,
this is where it starts.
This is
where it starts.
This is it.
I will be returning that £10 immediately.
It's £10 now, and you're the Tory party in 5 years' time, mate. That's how it works.
I thought this was going to be a fun chat about comics. I didn't expect it to be a shocking expose.
I think we'll have to. I think we don't say anymore. Get your legal advisors in.
Yeah.
Because you're saying that. Yeah.
I feel bad about it. But I also gave me a bit of a thrill.
But
I will be returning. I will be returning that £10.
Fuck you, coppers. Try and prove it. That's what he said.
We've got this audio recording. Oh.
He's admitted it on a podcast. Yeah, but nobody takes those wankers seriously. Let's face it.
Yeah. Work of fiction.
Yeah. It's all pretend. I'm not really like this. I was just thinking before we move on to because Vince is about to segue. Before we move on to the shout-outs, would it be a good idea for me to read some Death Machine motivational poetry?
Oh, could you read it in a nice sort of with a lot of gravitas?
Yeah.
And a growly voice.
On,
I want you to have a gravelly voice. Go on.
Okay. This is from Death Machine. Motivational poem number 8 from The Soul Bared. The earth must spin and cannot stop. The earth must go on no matter what. And though all is never fully lost, we must all endure our elbow drops.
I think that was
nice.
That was.
Thank you.
I've never felt like I was on a culture show on.
I'm available for bar mitzvahs.
I wet them just a bit. Just wet slightly.
And I'll tell you what, I'll buy a black vest. I'll do it for you. I'll do it for you live.
Black vest.
Live. You're going to start doing live appearances.
Yeah.
You haven't got any wrestling trunks, have you, Tony? Because you could literally cosplay.
Don't ask questions you know the answer to, Vince.
It's MCN.
We've all seen Zardoz.
Lord.
I make him look like a 12-year-old. I tell you, I'm that hairy.
Oh dear. Oh
There you go.
God.
Little
No, but
bit of
before
sex
we move
offender comedy for you there. Let's move on.
yeah, lovely. But before we move on, last thing about the show, what has it been like in terms of like organising where people go?
He's still going.
on the
He's
table?
still
Dan's still laughing. In terms of setting up where people sort of go, what tables they've got, has that been a nightmare? Or has that been a fun challenge?
It's a bit difficult. We're still we can change up until the day, so we can still look at it and tweak it and stuff. But you kind of get a sense of I don't really want it to be any like prime spots and stuff,
Yeah.
So
what do you mean, like
we're
right
trying to
next to the
design
toilet?
it so it's kind of evenly distributed.
There's not a prime spot next to us. Don't even suggest it. I know what you're going with that.
There's a super prime spot, which is like the upstairs has got like a circus themed sort of core.
What?
Only in a gentle, mild sense. There's like some stripy wallpaper or whatever, but there is
a gentle circus.
A gentle circus. There is like a bit of like 4 seats inside an old-timey, rickety wooden caravan that you can't move. I'm just going to level you now. These seats are there. They can't be moved. They must be reckoned with. So I didn't want to put anyone in those in case, I don't know, if it was just a bit awkward for people to sell comics. I didn't want to burden anyone with the caravan zone. So we'll be sitting in the caravan. The CCC / Josh Hicks / Johan Morris table will be in the caravan. But now what I've sort of realised it looks like is that we've made ourselves a caravan to go in, and it looks quite well decorated and lavish for what should be a comics table. But no, aside from that, I think everything else is going to flow magnificently, and I'm very excited.
Nice one.
Yeah,
I tell you what,
I can't wait to hear back from these two guys.
Yeah.
Would you like to? There was a discussion whether it would be acceptable to make people sell comics off a bar, sit behind a bar, and sell comics on the bar, and we all decided that no, that is not acceptable.
Oh, but
I think you'd be worried about a bit of stickiness, wouldn't you?
You'd have to put a tablecloth down. We'd have to put a tablecloth down for you.
Yeah.
You'd have to manoeuvre around the taps.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I guess if it's a working bar, I guess it wouldn't.
It's a working bar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed. There will be no bar table.
But fear not, there will be a caravan.
Yeah.
There will be a rickety cat. Don't touch the caravan with your bare hands.
Spill beer on the comics and get chinned.
No,
It's going to be a wild time.
It is.
It will.
I can't wait.
It will be, and it's certainly going to be interesting.
There's a good spread of stuff as well. Little heroes are there, fair spark. So hopefully, despite the fact that it is in a bar, it's quite a nice, well lit, posho bar in some ways.
It's all about the atmosphere, though, isn't it?
Families.
Yeah, it's totally about the atmosphere, and especially if it's a free event, you'll get loads of fantastic people coming in off the street, and people bring their kids and stuff. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah,
I love those sort of events. So yeah, good man.
Yeah, Mum, Dad, go
on.
and see the weird people in the caravan.
I see your uncle George.
Yeah.
Lives on the estate.
Oh dear. Yeah. No, but top marks for you for putting on this show, dude, and for having us there. So
it'll be a good day, and Johan, me, Andrew, we're all excited about it, and I think it's going to be good.
Yeah. So if you go to the event, make sure to pop by to the. I mean, we were joking about the caravan, but genuinely pop in,
pop to the caravan,
pop to the
awesome comics table. Location to be disclosed. Yeah. Have a look around. Check out some comics.
Yeah.
Check out some illustration. USW, University of South Wales students. We're having some of those guys there.
Awesome.
Hopefully they'll see some comic stuff and maybe it'll
be inspired.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. That's all we want.
Instill the love of comics into their hearts.
Oh.
You'll get some illustration, we'll get some comics, we'll have a good time, some food, some bar, beverages.
Some bar.
What a time we'll have.
I'm staying down the night before. I'm going clubbing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Are you going?
Going clubbing.
You're really going clubbing?
I haven't been clubbing since 1988, dude, so it's unlikely.
Yeah.
But, yeah, now's a good time. It's acceptable for a man in his 50s.
Terrible clubs.
The only club Tony will see will be the one he's got in his lunchbox.
Nice.
Biscuit humour.
Yeah.
God, I love that.
Yeah.
It's brought full circle.
Yeah,
Because we started with biscuits. Yeah.
That went all right. Where else? What other podcasts do you get like games about wanking on biscuits and live poetry readings? You don't get that on other podcasts.
No.
You don't.
More's the pity.
Yeah. I
So
know.
I'd be well up for the wanking on biscuits and poetry podcast.
That's it. This truly is high culture. I think we can all agree.
I think Samir Ahmed's leaving the Culture Show. I might apply for the job. I think it'll be fine.
Send this in as like a demo reel.
Yeah. What other podcasts? What other things you do? Nothing. Oh, we've heard you do the Awesome Comics podcast. No, it must be a different one.
Oh God. Anyway, before we move on to the shout-outs, Josh, your Kickstarter, where can people find that?
People can find that on my website, joshhicks.co.uk, all one word, and they can find it at my Twitter, which is @AJoshHicks, or they can just type in Glorious Wrestling Alliance into Kickstarter, and it will come up.
Yes.
Three ways to get access to that Kickstarter.
Three-way Hicks.
Yes. Yes.
You want to be careful because he will give a nickname to everyone. So yeah, be careful with that. But yes, and definitely look for Glorious
I've had a
Wrestling.
proper elaborate nickname before, so go on.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
I've got a friend called Noodles. I made that up.
Yeah.
Well
Does
done.
everyone still call him Noodles, or just you?
Yeah.
Ah,
Quite pleased
that
with
must
one.
feel.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's good.
It's good to have a legacy in it, Tony.
They used to call me Rolf, but you can't really get away with that anymore.
No.
Well, because it stood for right obnoxious little fucker. But you can't say it anymore. It's a shame. Paedophiles have ruined good nicknames. That's what I'm saying now.
Oh God. I mean, there's no way I can make a segue from that into anything.
What do you think it is now?
Have you guessed what it is yet? It's time for the shout-outs.
Hey, he did it.
I know, and I feel so dirty.
Well, before we get properly into the shouts, we've got a little segue for some audio, haven't we?
We have.
Cool.
Yeah. So I went to the London Book Fair. And I'll tell you what, I wish comic conventions were that busy. Fucking hell. Absolutely mobbed out. But I went there and I met with a few people. Met with Mike Medaglia. We haven't spoken to Mike for ages, have we?
No.
Met with Sam Arthurs from Nobrow. We had a good chat. More news about that coming up and the MCM adventure that we're about to set out upon. And I did a little interview with Aaron Rackley, who we've just spoken from Little Heroes and Fair Spot Books, who have got a Kickstarter going at the moment. So we had a little chat about that. It's slightly out of date because when I met him on, I think it was Wednesday or Tuesday, the Kickstarter, I still had a few quid to go, but obviously they've just passed that now. So it's still pledgeable, still pledged to it. But here's a bit of, it's only 5 minutes of me and him chatting about who's who and what's what, Little Hero and Fair Spots. Hey, I'm in, we're not in Pizza Hut, we're in Pizza Express. With Aaron Rackley from Little Heroes. Aaron, we've got Little Heroes Volume 3. Was it about 200 quid away? Is it something like that?
Yeah, 200 quid away, 3 people away from 100. Yeah.
So, did you want to just say what's in it? What sort of stuff we've got coming up in the next volume? The third volume, which is all about science, isn't it?
Yeah, this one's all about science. I think by the time it's actually finished, the campaign's finished, we'll have about 15 stories this time.
Okay.
Because we've still got some creators that are coming in and we're going to announce them as it goes on. But yeah, it's got some really exciting stories in it. We've got obviously your one, Tony, about werewolves.
I don't know how we quite fitted that in with the science, but we got there eventually. I think it starts in the lab, doesn't it? That's the
Yeah, it starts in lab, and then we've got loads of. It's really interesting because we wanted to see how people interpreted science this time around, but it seems that everyone's gone for the same kind of thing. It's just here's a science project, here's the end of the world. And so, but it's really. But what's so interesting about it is the fact that even though they're all similar stories, how so different they are. So I think even if you just buy it for that reason, it's really good.
There's some great art in it as well. Do you want to talk about some of the artists you got? Is Tom Curry in this one again?
Oh, yeah, he is. He's not on the Kickstarter page at the moment because he messaged me yesterday with the final pages.
Oh, brilliant.
So I need to put him up when I get home. And there's a couple of other people that we need to put on there as well. I'm trying to think of who I've got off the top of my head. It's really annoying.
You've got the Mighty Ashcroft and Matt Sophie on my one.
We have got a load of people that I'd never have actually worked with before,
right.
Which is really nice because obviously Andy Hicks has put himself in the ring.
Yeah, he's
done the cover, but then has snuck a bit of colouring in.
Oh, he's done that with his mate, isn't he? We were talking about this on the WhatsApp group the other day, weren't we?
With his mate Craig Turrell, I think Turl. Don't know how you say that, but he's done Andy done the colouring, and his mate done the writing and drawing.
And he's done it so it looks like it's sort of a retro feel to it, doesn't it? It looks like an old kids comic, doesn't it? It looks really great.
Yeah, it really does. And we've got some other ones. Let me just think. Actually, I'll tell you what. I'll get the page up. So we've got obviously Ken Reynolds is lettering. I joked about this the other day, but he's lettering about 3 or 4 books in this. Never stops.
He's the cherry in the awesome cake.
Yeah. So we've got one from Rick Jackson, who's actually worked with his son on this one.
Oh yeah, so looking forward to this. I really like Rick. Rick's great. Yeah.
He's they've done one about CO2 and oxygen and tree growth and all that kind of stuff. Really good.
Okay.
So I don't want to ruin anything.
Look at the brains on Rick.
Yeah. We've got one about eruptions. We've got.
I bet you have.
We've got some out there ones, we've got obviously Rob Barnes is doing a kind of detective sciencey kind of one.
Oh, is he? He doesn't work hard enough, does he, Rob?
No. He's only producing a book every month. And then so we've got that one. Then we've got one called by Matt Vroom. Yeah, that
American guy, isn't he, Matt? I think
he's American. Yeah. That's Zoom Boy in the Unknown Element. So that's again, they're all very much around elements and stuff like that. So there's quite a lot. I need to update the page, so definitely have another look.
We're almost there. I mean, we've got 23 days to go, and we're 200 quid away, something like that. It's not.
23 days.
People are probably bored of me mentioning it by now because I mention it.
I always do that warning on Twitter where it's for the next 30 days. Sorry.
I said it this morning. I said, "Can I have a return to King's Cross?" And have you heard about the Kickstarters? And you're just about to put out the collections for the Amiss collection, aren't you?
Yeah. So we've done the Gallant Amiss Kickstarter.
Yeah.
So that was done, and I've just sent to the printers the actual final proof, and they should be with us next Monday.
Oh, brilliant.
So anyone who backed will obviously start getting that in the next couple of weeks, including the awesome hardback versions that some people got.
They're hardback versions.
Yeah,
why did I not know this?
So on the Kickstarter, there was a pledge level where you can get a limited edition hardback, which you could only ever get on the Kickstarter. And so that was extra padded price, obviously. But so if you backed, you got a limited number, and that's all there ever will be of that. So.
And other ongoings, you got Megatomic.
Yeah, Megatomic 3 is actually coming out soon. Obviously, another Gallant and Amiss issue 6 coming out soon. 5 just came out. We've got a couple coming out that we can't talk about just yet.
You told me, but we can't mention them.
Can't really talk about, but there's some really exciting ones coming up with some. Definitely a few people on the pod will know about. So that'll be exciting. But hopefully, I think at the end of this month I'll be able to announce one of them. So,
cool.
So we'll see how that goes.
That's great. And Hanks's cover looks brilliant for Little Heroes 3, doesn't it? Again, a lot of people are mentioning what a great cover that is as well. Yeah,
we're getting so many people shout out.
And it comes from the time he stuck his knob in a lemon. Is that the true origin?
That's the story I heard, yeah. Or will be now.
Right. Cheers, man.
No worries.
Well done, Esmond. Well done.
Thank you.
As always.
And we got a little update on that, haven't we, from you, Daniel?
Yeah. There's a stretch goal been added, so I'm going to do a pin-up if that stretch goal is reached.
Is it going to be a photograph of you as a pin-up? or are you going to do a drawing as a pin-up? Because I would buy both, to be fair.
Oh, cool. Excellent. We'll put that forward to Aaron and see if he wants to put that forward for the kids' book.
That's awesome.
And also Nikki draws from the Lakes podcast. She'll be contributing one as well.
I like Nikki. She's great.
Yeah. Look forward to that. So please get that stretch goal hit, and I'll get on drawing me as a pin-up.
What? Pardon? So you're actually going to do you as a pin-up?
I don't think that'd go down too well.
Why don't you lie down and I'll draw around you? That'd be cool, like an Anthony Gormley thing. That'd be good, wouldn't it?
Just look like a giant gingerbread man, wouldn't it?
That would be cool, though, wouldn't it?
Oh, I'd love to see a gingerbread.
That laugh was the laugh of a man holding something back he wanted to say. It was too saucy.
Well, he's got to be careful. A lot of people are going to see him next week.
Yeah.
Anyway, do we have any shout-outs this week, gents?
We've got a few.
Go for it.
So, thanks to Matt Sophie. He sent me an amazing scanners piece, which you guys saw. You saw that online?
Yeah.
That
was nice, wasn't it?
That was ace.
Obviously, I paid for it, but it was very reasonable. And he sent it within like a day, which is excellent. Ian Ashcroft, who I'm in Little Heroes with, we just talk about. He put his pages up for sale, which I immediately bought, and then he donated the money from the sale to Little Heroes. He's a good egg. I backed the 3rd volume of Sliced, and I backed the tier that got me the cover by Sarah Harris. Did you guys see that? I put it on Instagram.
Yes.
Fucking hell, that's nice. Yeah, it's on my wall in front of me. The little cross promotional for. Do any of you guys listen to the Big Finish audios? They do like the Avengers and Black Seven and Doctor Who and stuff like that. Well, let me ask you this question: what is the greatest Doctor Who comic strip ever?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'll give you. I'll give you the answer. It's the Iron Legion by Dave Gibbons, Pat Mills, and John Wagner from Doctor Who Weekly.
Oh, now that you say it, I honestly thought I wasn't going to have ever heard of it. I think
that's anyone I know.
Yeah, it is, and it's fucking amazing. But they're turning a lot of the comic strips into audio plays.
Right.
And that one's just about to come out, the Iron Legion, which was edited by Des Skin and came out in Doctor Who Weekly. I'm going to say late 70s, early 80s sort of period.
Can I interject?
Yes.
Johan Morris, who is running the Cardiff Comics Carnival with me, scores those Big Finish audiobooks, and he might have done the Iron Legion.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
He did the Masters theme for a thing with Derek Jacobi in it, I think.
Yeah, definitely. He's done it.
So he might have done that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But he might not have. Interjection done.
Interjection, but if you get there, then they can be. I think everyone admits they are a bit pricey, some of their audio plays. But Tom Baker's in them, for fuck's sake. Do you know what I mean? They are amazing. The if you can't afford to buy the whole CD, the first 15 minutes are on the Big Finish podcast this week. So they sort of tease the first 15 minutes of it, and it sounds amazing. It's a really great story. Nice. What if it's kind of like what if the Roman armies, the Roman Empire didn't stop and took over the universe, and they're sort of robot centurions and stuff like that, and it's really good stuff. And my final one is for anyone who looks at Never On Anything, I reviewed or previewed something called In Waves by AJ Dungo, which is a book about, it's a sort of a split story about the history of surfing and also about AJ and his girlfriend who wasn't very well. I won't ruin it, but probably one of the best books I've read. I know I say this every week, but probably one of the best books I've read for years. And Watch This Space has got Eisner written all over it. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, really good. It's comparable to maybe something along the lines of Tilly Walden or Kingdom or something like that. It's got that feel, that sort of melancholic beauty about it. That I think this is going to be the big hit for them. I think this is going to be a huge breakthrough hit. So watch out for that. In Waves comes out in June. But I got a preview copy of it this week. Absolutely beautiful. They're my ones.
Nice.
I've got a quick shout out for one. The Leamington Comic Con. They're doing their early bird tickets. Yes. The first 100 tickets are just £6 each. So they snap them up quickly. It's free to under 13s, and that is for October, the Saturday, the 5th of October this year. So strike now, get them cheap, or leave it and get them on the door.
It started so dramatic, Dan.
Yeah.
I
kind of fucked that up.
Sorry,
Dan.
I liked it.
But that's another great show, though.
Rare misstep from Butcher.
Yeah. Oh dear. Anyway, right. It's time to recommend some comics to our lovely listeners.
Yes.
And add to the show notes like we do every week. Who wants to go first this week?
Should we let the guests go? Oh, go on, you go, Dan. You go, Dave. Go on.
I got recommended this book last year by a friend of the show, Sarah Harris. And I put it on my wish list, and then it's rolled around, and it was released in February, late part of February. And it was the Mr. Miracle collection, written by Tom King and drawn by Mitch Gerards. It's an Eisner Award winner for both Best Artist and Best Writer, and it earns both of those accolades with ease. It's a fantastic story, and it went places I didn't really know it would go to. I can't talk too much about what goes on in it because it kind of ruins the whole thing. But essentially, you don't really need to know the characters too well, but it starts off with Mr. Miracle and Big Barda, obviously their relationship, and that goes back and forth. But there's a huge war between Apocalypse and New Genesis. Yeah. And he's one of the big players in it, going up against Darkseid. And Darkseid has finally worked out his anti-life equation, which essentially is going to spell the doom for the New Genesis lot. And through the book, you start seeing like shades of this corruption coming in, and messages that Scott's picking up on. And you sort of question whether this is going to be Darkseid's influence or the anti-life equation. Because at the very start, he tries to commit suicide. And
it's a really dark beginning to that book.
Really dark beginning. And he sort of tries to play off that he tries to escape death. And you're never really, it sort of like handles it quite tactfully, but you're never quite sure, has he escaped death or not? Is he in some kind of purgatory or what's happened? And it keeps you guessing all the way through the book because you don't know as a reader.
Right.
It obviously sets it up that you feel like there's an unease, something's not quite right. And some things seem to be going too well, and you feel like you're being built up for a fall. But it's such a great tale, and the art sort of flicks effortlessly. But between when the Barda and Scott are in the kind of our world, and when they jump back to New Genesis or Apocalypse, and all the colouring kind of goes crazy, and it's really great, really well written. The interplay between the characters is great. I'm not overly keen on all the DC cast.
Yeah, right.
This was just I knew a little. Don't get me wrong. I know the characters, but
especially that sort of world. I don't know about you, but like a lot of the New Gods and that sort of stuff, I know nothing about. But going into it,
you could read this and not know anything about them, and you'd be totally fine.
Yeah, because there's a character piece as well. That's what I love about it. It
is a personality piece, isn't it?
Yeah, Mr. Miracle and Barda's relationship is awesome. Through the whole thing, I loved it.
It's good just to see a couple in the comics that are not sort of at each other's throat and genuinely you can see they have an affection for one another and care for one another, and it feels very real and fleshed out. It's very good. I think
DC does that well, it likes Green Arrow and Black Canary and Big Barda and Mr. Miracle and Clark and Lois, and there's a few, they're just a couple and they're I like that about that, I think sometimes.
I mean, in this they sort of share have a shared tragedy that sort of help bring them together, and they seem to have kind of worked beyond that. And
I need to finish it. I haven't finished it. It's one of those. It's one of those comics that I held in such high esteem. I wanted to put aside to the moment. I just really felt it, and I really need to just say no. Just like let's just read it,
Yeah. I think we have to warrant reading it a couple more times because I'm sure there's a lot of stuff and messages in it I'm missing.
Yeah.
And I want to sort of try and reabsorb that.
Yeah.
Can I say one thing?
Sure.
I think, and it completely works in this title from what I can see. Can we put aside the 9-panel grid now? Everyone's doing 9-panel grids. I'm tired of it now.
Yeah.
I think we need to can we just move on?
Well, this is one of those interesting ones that I loved it on digital because I was reading the guided view.
Yeah.
But when I saw like the pages, I wasn't so keen on that. Does that make sense?
I get it. It's almost a little bit intimidating and a little bit monotonous. Yeah. It's almost a combination of both, isn't it?
Yeah. And sometimes the 9-panel grid will be, there's lots of just little moments. They'll all look like the same person for 9 panels, but they're looking in a different direction or they're doing a little bit like that.
Yeah.
This is the reason I put Heroes in Crisis. I took it off my pull list. I just got very tired of it. It's not everyone's mileage, I know. I just find, and then it starts straying into it's straying into Marvel books now, and it's straying elsewhere. And I know that Watchmen did it very well, and I know that Tom King has done it very well. But I think as a narrative sort of technique, we need to move on. Let's experiment somewhere else for a while, maybe. Yeah.
So if you want to see it done well, get this one.
I didn't even really clock that when I was reading it through, to be honest.
So,
I'm not sure what that says about me.
Well, it's evident that's evident of it being well done. I'm more saying that there's a lot of copycats to it now.
Yeah,
gotcha.
They're not copycats, or there's a lot of it being done again. I don't think it needs to. Let's move on and try something else. Sometimes I think. Yeah, but no, I've read the first few issues and I've really enjoyed it, and I keep looking. It's literally sitting next to me at my desk here. There's that and a couple of other series, and I just think I really need to get back into it. I need to be in the right mood to enjoy it and fully sort of understand. It's weird, isn't it? Like that. Sometimes we put aside things that we know we're going to enjoy because we're not. Yeah. It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's probably said something mentally about us to collect. Yeah, a little bit. And also a little bit OCD, kind of, isn't it?
Yeah, you kind of you can only experience this once, and it's got to be the right time to do it. And
that's a great way of putting it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But, this is a book you can kind of give to someone who likes comics but doesn't really care for superhero stuff because it's so
same
much
as
more.
Vision.
Yeah,
Vision
exactly.
Was the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brilliant stuff.
2 top recommends from you guys and Sarah, both Division and that.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, good. Nice one, man.
There you go.
Cool.
Who wants to go next?
Shall I go next?
Go for it.
I've got one review and one sort of worthy mention. So I'm gonna. I wrote 4 reviews for this week because I just kept moving on as to which one I wanted to talk about, and I got through today's Skullfucker issue 1 by Warwick, Fraser, Combe, who I'm a fan of, and we've chatted to. I think me and you, Vince, chatted to him at Thought Bubble a few years ago, didn't we?
Yeah.
At the old venue. He's a really sort of thoughtful creator and an interesting guy. Now this is the first in a series, so you may think that a couple of things are going to be spoilery, but they're not. And in my opinion, it's the first issue, so there's a setup here of some kind, and you can't really explain what's going on. And I'm sure he will twist our melons as he does in this issue, much further as the series goes on. But it opens with a man. You got to admire Warwick. He's got some balls on him. The first page of the story is just boobs. It's 1/3 of the page is a semi-naked lady, and basically her and her sort of scumbag husband or boyfriend are in a flat, and there's some mail has arrived for the person who used to live at the house, and the bloke opens it, and it's these sort of pink pills that are in the shape, I'm told, in the shape of Viagra. Viagra's sort of a diamond shape, isn't it? So he opens them, and they're called Paragon, and he's looking at them, and there's a letter attached to them, and he reads the letter, and it would appear that these are sort of a new sort of test drug for a new sort of super-powered aphrodisiac tablet, and this is the trial 1 sort of batch sort of thing. And he's saying to his girlfriend, he's saying, "What are you? Don't open someone else's man." He says, "Yeah, but they got these in them." And the closer you look at them, you see that they've got little skull motifs on them. So it ain't going to end well. So he says, "Look, it'll keep me hard and up for all day, sort of thing." And she says, "Cool. Want to take the rest of the day off and we can try some?" And his sort of face changes, and he says, "Baby, just read my mind." And then he does a really interesting thing here, where he pulls out. So you're actually the image like goes to the front door, and you hear all this sort of talking coming from inside the flat, and then it flips back into the bedroom, and these two have turned into sort of just absolute fucking the creatures that would give David Cronenberg a nightmare. Her nipples have turned into teeth. They've turned green. His whole head has turned into a sort of huge gaping mouth with about 14 eyeballs on top of it, and he's pulling her intestines out from her stomach and saying things like, "Wait, I feel a bit weird. I feel strange." And she's just screaming, "Yes, yes, yes." while they're literally at it full on. And it's the most fucked up thing you're going to see in a comic for a long time, I've got to tell you. It's just fucking, I'm staring at it now, it's fucking nuts. And then it sort of switches. So the image, so that's obviously happened in the last few weeks. And then we get the real sort of storyline then kicks in. So that's the event that things will spring. You get the sense that is the event that things will spring out of. And there's a detective, a sort of corrupt detective who's got bad gambling debts, and he's talking to a photographer stroke sort of sleazy journalist, who most of the journalist's job is taking up the skirt shots outside of nightclubs in central London. And he's trying to sell the story of what's happened in this flat to this journalist. And he's going, well, I'll give you 50 quid. And he's saying, well, it's got to be worth more than that. And they haggle over it. And then you begin to realise through a couple of extra players that sort of begin to appear that there's more to it than that, and there's a sort of deeper government conspiracy. But it's not just in relation to that drug. It sort of branches out in all sort of areas, and there's talk of drugs, both sort of legal, both sort of experimental, both sort of also sort of, you know, there's talk of weed and, you know, actually sort of street drugs. And it sort of flips backwards and forwards amongst this story until it ends on a note that is probably one of the best endings I've read in a first issue, which I won't spoil, but something ends and it is fucking nightmarish. The last page of this comic is just fucking, I don't know what kind of acid, not that anyone, I believe truly that he takes drugs, but there's some acid attack going on in someone's brain here to come up with this idea, and it is it's full in your face, in the light visuals. There's nothing in the darkness in this story at all. It's just like things just explode off the page into your face, sort of thing. It reminds me a bit of the art of Gary Spencer Millage when he did Strange Haven, and Gary would use his friends as basically sort of life drawing models, and he would sort of draw them in various sort of acting poses. And I get the sense that's probably what Warwick does here. To be fair, some of the stuff he can't because it's so out of the ordinary, so strange and, you know, abnormal and sort of grotesque. I imagine he can't do, but it's the first in the series. It's a real accomplishment, I have to say. I love the fact that so much of our comics just seem to be just another run through fucking Care Bears, or do you know what I mean? It's like, oh no, another Steven Universe comic or something like that. It just drives me nuts. And you got Warwick here working on his own, you know, writing and drawing this series that comes out, and it's just fucking. But it's also socially relevant. It talks about sort of socially relevant issues about the press and about big government corruption and stuff like that. So it's clever. And you do sense that it will become very complex, a sort of labyrinthine sort of thriller as well as a horror film as well. I saw him advertising it on Facebook, and I ordered a copy through from him, and he sent me a review copy. I'm going to get a physical copy through in the post next few days. But the only way currently to get a copy is you go to his email, which is Warfras, which is WARFRAS, Warfras @hotmail.com, and I think it's $3.99 plus postage. So just pay for a copy. It's absolutely brilliant, really, really good stuff. Did you read is it the Shadow Constabulary? Did you guys read that before?
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, because you talked about that one, didn't you? Did you talk about that?
Yeah, a couple of years ago now. Yeah, and that's a sort of English realistic Punisher. Put it that way. Just brilliant visuals, sort of thing. So is that one? A couple of just a worthy mention to Stutter, which is an autobiographical comic by Joe Stone, which I bought in Orbital this week, £5, 28 pages, A5, and it's the story of Joe's life through from 7 to 14 to 19 to 30, and how he suffers from a stutter and a stammer, and how he overcomes it, and how sometimes he doesn't, and why it happens and why it doesn't happen, perhaps, and the sort of theories about it and how to beat it and stuff like that. And I would thoroughly recommend that as well. Really, really nice. It's not one of those comics that it either does, oh look at me. It's not one of those, and it's not one of those that goes, oh woe is me. It's something you can take away from it. And as we've always said about books like this, it gives you emails and websites to go to if you are suffering from it or your friend's suffering from it. It's one of those sort of things.
Oh,
really nice. Really, really nice book.
Yeah.
And just who thought a comic about stuttering would be interesting? And he's got a lovely sort of clean sort of maybe sort of Hernandez-y type sort of black and white sort of solid blacks, very, very sort of visually familiar, and you know who everyone is in the comics, so it's a nice little style. Go to joe-stone joe.stone.co.uk, you can get yourself a copy. If you go to @joe_stone on Instagram or @joe_stone on Twitter, and you can find a copy of that as well. That's another great book.
Nice.
Nice.
Nice one.
Well, my one this week is one that we had sent through to us. Gave it a little mention like a couple of weeks ago, but from our listener Ian Summers, who sent through his anthology comic, Is Something Amiss?
Oh, yeah.
Nice one.
I haven't seen this yet. Have you sent this to us yet?
Yes, yeah, I forwarded it to
I
you.
must look at this.
We
Sorry,
get sent so much,
Yeah.
so I forward you so many emails. But you definitely need to check this out, dude. As it says on the introduction on the inside, Is Something Amiss is a collection of comic art. This is what Ian says himself. Comic art I created in my free time. The idea of bringing my favourite pieces all together in one comic came after attending Nottingham Comic Con and thinking, that looks easy enough. I am now suffering PCCSD, which is post-comic creation stress disorder, after discovering it was not as easy as I first thought. So this is literally an anthology comic in the truest sense. It's like the Fast Show. It's 24 pages, and 20 of those pages are like one and done sort of sketches, as it were.
Yeah.
Just one and done jokes. And I just absolutely love it. The only downside to this book is that it ended, and because every single joke for me smashed it. I was laughing out loud. There's another name to add to the list. If you know, we got John Tucker, we got Todd Oliver, and now Ian Summers is now on there as a comedy voice to be reckoned with. I can't really spoil any of the jokes. My favourite one is a page about a ninja, which is called Ninja Con. But like I say, I can't say anything about any of the pages because the jokes, you have to see it for yourself. But he does that in the contents. He's got actually got a contents page, which is quite different. They've all got titles. They don't have titles on the page, but like you've got names like, you know, Bad Date, The Summoning, Knock Knock, Ice Cream, Damsel is Distressed. You know, there's a lot. It feels like almost a webcomic type thing. It's like a It feels like it's that he's just seemed to collect it, that he's collected. I'm not sure how long he's taken to do this. But I want to see more of it. I'd love it if he had a website and he was doing this weekly. I know webcomics is a bloody lot of hard work, but definitely, I'm not sure when he's going to release this. He might be at Nottingham this year, hopefully.
Okay.
If he's from that, I think he's from Nottingham as well.
Right.
So and he's a listener. So thank you very much, Ian, for listening to the show.
That's brilliant.
But your work is definitely one that I'm immediately a big fan of. Plus, the artwork's brilliant. I mean, this is literally, you know, if Disney wanted to do a comic book adaptation of like Monsters Inc. or something like that, just sign him up. He's ready to go. It's top stuff, which really helped with the jokes as well. So you can find him at Ian Summers Art. And that's the same on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. His website is iansummers.co.uk. And just stay tuned for more from him, because it's definitely there was one brilliant. One of them. I will gently spoil this one. It's the first strip in the book. The first meeting of an alien race with a bunch of humans, and the aliens come introduce themselves. Greetings, I am Ambassador Tooty Nipples, and this is Ambassador Squeaky Fart Hammock. And so I was like, brilliant art, and it appeals to some of my really childish humour. Love it. So definitely follow this guy, and we'll look out for his comics, because I think there's going to be plenty more to come. Hopefully, Ian. Sorry, no pressure. I know you listen, you know. but this is brilliant. So so stay tuned. But Josh, our lovely guest, send us off into the ether with another wonderful recommendation. What have you got, sir?
Well, I've done comics criticism twice in my life, and I was shit at both times. So let's try this now. I haven't been reading that much, really. I read Junji Ito's Frankenstein recently. Someone read that?
Oh, that's
very good.
Yeah.
That's a name that's been mentioned quite a few times on the show, but not
a lot of people recommend that.
Not that title. I haven't heard of that one before.
It's a recent.
It came out as a free comic book day. A small portion of it, didn't it? I think
really?
Last year, yeah.
Oh well, Viz have just done a big book of it, and it's a large chunk of it is just a straight adaptation of Frankenstein,
right?
Which, because I'm not very well read. I'd never actually read Frankenstein before, so now I have with pictures. Everyone benefits, and then the rest of the book is kind of just shorts that I think came out in the 90s, but they kind of disconnected shorts, all starring one guy, and they're all horror comics. His stuff is more kind of contemporary, and it's kind of body horror stuff, like his own the stuff that he wrote himself, and he works some of that into Frankenstein, and it's pretty disgusting, and I think pretty true to the original book. So. That's good. I would check that out. That's from Viz. And I've started reading again Leaving Richard's Valley on Instagram. It's Michael DeForge, the Canadian cartoonist. Yeah. He's got he did like a year plus webcomic where he did a page a day on Instagram. Wow. And Drawn and Quarterly are putting out a collection in May, I think.
Nice.
But I'm getting ahead of the curve because I'm reading it again on the toilet when I'm
I'm very intrigued by like comics on Instagram now. I mean,
this one works as 4-panel grids in a square, and I think from what I've seen of the final product, it's just a big square book, a massive square book, and it looks quite cool.
Ah, awesome.
Yeah, it works.
There was one that I saw that I'm very intrigued by. I think it's called Grass of Parnassus. Have you heard of this one?
I've heard of this.
That's by Stuart and Catherine Immonen.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that is exactly like you say, because for just each, I don't know whether it must be weekly. Each sort of image is a panel, so you get like 4 panels at a time. You know, and it was the first time I'd ever seen something like that, so it's good to know that there's lots of other stuff. I should look into more sort of Instagram.
Yeah, there's another one, Space Academy 123 by Mickey Zakili is really good on Instagram. But that's finished now as well, I think. They're all... You just have to scroll down really far to get to the first one. But yeah, it's good. I haven't done an Instagram comic yet. I may never. Yeah. But those are 2 recommendations.
Be interesting to see what you could do with that format, though. I think that's...
it's difficult to fit stuff back into. Like, I couldn't fit any of the wrestling comics back into it because of the layout pages and stuff.
You'd have to create something new for that format, really, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, it'd have to be from the ground up for Instagram. But it's interesting.
Nice. So there you go.
Those are my 3 racks.
Well, and I didn't expect that many. I've got so amazing. And I've got plenty of stuff for myself to check out as well. Cool. There you go, folks. We get lots of entertainment, lots of topics I didn't expect to come up in a conversation, but I put that down to Dan and Tony being terrible degenerates.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. But if you disagree with me, there's several different ways you can get in touch with me to tell me, no, they're wonderful human beings and moral guardians for all of us. Dan knows what I'm talking about when I say he's a moral guardian.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can...
should I tell the story behind that? No.
What's a moral?
I'll tell you off air. Anyway, you can email us.
Story.
Yeah, you can email us awesomecomicspod@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter @theawesomepod, where we'll be posting up the next guest, which we might do a bit sooner because we're having an early recording because we've got a convention. We're recording a little bit earlier.
That's true.
Yeah. So, but stay tuned to our Twitter sphere anyway, because you never know what's going to turn up there. The other guys have the keys to that car as well, so you never know what you're going to hear. If you do the Book of Faces, go to facebook.com/awesomecomicspodcast. And if you just want to talk about some of the great stuff we've talked about on this show, whether it be events, Instagram comics, whatever, then join the Facebook group Awesome Comics Talk. It's wonderful. We vet all the people coming on, so there'll be no hard selling or shilling of anything. It's just great comic talk all the time. And thank you for listening to us, whether it was on the website, awesomecomics.podbean.com. If you listen to us on iTunes, subscribe, leave a review, tell everyone about us, even your mum and your nan. You know, We're all about the nans in our audience, aren't we?
Yep.
Bring your nan to Cardiff Comics Carnival on March 24th.
He's good,
She may struggle with some stairs, but
and if you bring your nan, I'm of an age where I'll probably try and get off with her anyway. So there you go.
Yeah.
Also tell your nan about the Josh Hicks Glorious Wrestling Alliance Kickstarter.
He's
running to live the land. I picked up the tricks. I can do it.
Do you know what? It's so shameless. I'll let it ride. I love it.
Yeah, do it. Go with
it. But you can hear us on iTunes, on Stitcher, Podnose, Podnice, Spotify. What other networks are we on, Tony?
We're on Pod Arthur Fowler.
I was reading something, a comic today that referenced EastEnders, but I'll tell you about that off air because it's something you won't expect. Anyway, where can people find us online, etc.? Tony?
Neverwriteanything.blogspot.co.uk or EZOHYZ on Twitter.
Daniel?
You can find me on Twitter at Vanguard Comic, and you can read Vanguard at vanguardcomic.com.
I'm thoroughly loving that at the moment, Dan. It's awesome stuff.
Cheers, dude. Yeah, I'm loving doing it.
Yeah. It's your own running man, isn't it? Love it.
Yeah.
Can't get enough. I'm wondering
super-powered running man.
I'm just wondering who's going to get mashed up on the next page. That's brilliant. Anyway, you can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at Jester Diablo, and you can find out more about my comic at theredmousefrommars.com. And Josh Hicks.
JoshHicks.co.uk at @AJoshHicks on Twitter. My Instagram is unpronounceable because there's multiple underscores in it. So it's fine. Come to my house. You'll find me. Find me on the streets.
Bloody hell. Well, stay tuned over the next couple of weeks because we'll find out how well that went for him.
Yeah.
When he's living in that caravan. Anyway, thank you very much for listening, folks. Stay tuned for more from us over the next few weeks. From Dan, Tony, Josh, and myself. Have an amazing week. Hope to see you at Cardiff on Sunday. But if we don't, just read lots of comics. And as always, what do they do, Dan?
Stay awesome.
Damn right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.